American-born Japanese artist Ayakamay came to London this month to perform at Hoxton's Red Gallery. "I'm a street performer," she told us, and so we went outside to stand by the pavement and ask her about her culture, her identity, and her work. Yes, Ayakamay, thank you so much for coming to talk to us tonight. We're here at the Red Gallery in Hoxton, and you're about to do a performance. On your website, you say that your work is a hybrid culture about identity with fantasy and reality. Can you talk to us a bit about your American and Japanese combination?
I was born in America and then grew up in America, Tennessee, Los Angeles, and moved around a little bit. And then I moved to Japan at the age of 10. And it was a very, very traumatic disaster for me because at the time I could only speak English to my parents. My parents speak both in Japanese, but I was replying back in English. And I have like reading, writing problem. So I was very slow to catch up with my Japanese. But when I moved to Japan, everybody else only speaks Japanese. So I had a tough time of fitting myself into Japanese society. Even I looked the same, they weren't accepting me. I felt very rejected, but I didn't understand why. Because in America, even you're black, white, yellow, it didn't matter. We all speak English, and even you don't speak the language, even you have accent, it's fine. But then Japan was very difficult because the first problem was they have English, but let's say, like they say apple, but it have to be apple. If I say banana, it have to be banana, or otherwise you're not right. But I knew I was right, but I wasn't right to the Japanese.
So do you
English.
think you used your creativity, your artwork to help you through these times?
Yes. And
How did you do that?
Because it was hard to communicate in language, but if I make something or start doing something, create sculptures or painting, I didn't need to talk. That was the first thing I get into the art, I think.
And what sort of things did you make in those early years?
I was very into coloring. So color I still like vivid colors. But back then I only color a book all day long and then start drawing. And then get into clays that I was making a lot of naked human. And that got me into the trouble in my art career for the early stage of mine because I didn't get a better, good understanding from my family or teachers or other people.
So how did you come to do performance in your work?
Performance, so somehow my parents took art supplies away from me.
They took them away from you?
Because I made a big flat penis sculpture. Is it okay to say this? I'm sorry. I made a...
Do you know why you did? Do you remember why?
Yes, I do. It was probably I was 6 or 7 years old, first grade, so 6 years old, and then I made a big flat penis like this, and then it's just. But I remember because my father started working all over the world, and he was never home. I missed him so much, and what I remember is taking a bath together, and that's the thing that I didn't have. And I thought it was interesting, so I just expressed myself of that, missing my father. But that made my teachers very concerned about, is there something going on at the family? And my mother was afraid that it's going to be her responsibility for me just keep doing this to cause some problem with Japanese or American
So
schools.
how did you get through that? How did you get through that time?
So I tried to study a lot to become a lawyer or doctor. It didn't work at all, and I was into music, and music was okay. Study piano and koto. It's a 13 strings Japanese traditional instrument. It's koto, K-O-T-O. I love it. and I still do that. And then somehow photography was okay to my parents or school or anything. So I got myself into photography around 13 years old. First, you do it with the film, 35 millimeter film photography, just, toy camera. But then I got into the manual camera very early, and at the age of 15, I got into some competitions and stuff and try myself so hard to express in an artistic way that everybody loved it. So I was like going through it. So I was behind the camera all the time, and then I did that for 10 years. But one day I realized I don't have much picture of myself, or I was doubting what I am. I was getting depressed, and I was missing something from my life. And then I start shooting myself, that you call selfie now these days, but self-portrait. And then I start creating my own character that I want to be, or I feel I'm comfortable with, because I was never comfortable. I was always the outsider.
So this is back to identity again.
Yes.
But also back to maybe managing people's perception of who you are.
Yes, I have to change it to wherever I go, and I have to sense it what people want from me and what they want me to be like. But then it was always not me being myself.
So but now when you do performances, do you have different personas that you take on?
That's what I'm expressing. Maybe there's no me at all. Or this is me that I see I doing. This is maybe this is me that I'm building myself on the street, and then trying to figure out where I fit, and then seeing people's reactions from that.
And can you tell us which you is this now in this pink dress?
This is very inspired and affected by a Japanese J-pop culture, because it's a Japanese idol costume. It's so fluffy, fairy tale.
But it
pink.
also could be an American dress,
But the
prom
sense
dress.
is, yes, but the sense is, I think in America, if you want to be a superstar, you have to have a talent. Sing well, dance well, something has to be over the top. But when I moved to Japan, I thought everything was so funny, because that could be me. Like, there's no much like extreme talent, but what you have to do is really make people sympathize to what you do. So this is what the performance is about. So I'm gonna just stand still and smile. You have to have the smile, but you can't keep smile normally more than 5 minutes, otherwise your cheek muscle is gonna start twitch.
Yeah.
But if you keep looking at me, you're gonna feel uncomfortable,
Yes.
but you're gonna start worshiping me. You're gonna feel like you want to make her successful, or you want me to be better. Like you're gonna organically have this emotional feelings towards me if you look at me carefully.
And so do you look back at the audience carefully?
So, some of them do. This one is not about eye contact.
Okay. And the microphone that you're holding, is that simply a prop?
Yes, but the way they hold the mic is like this. Who does that? This is all calculated by all the Japanese about the cuteness, kawaii. So they think about how to hold the microphone and what does it look cute. So they have a different pose for everything. So that's when I'm so into it, because America is more like, look at me, bam, bam, bam. Japan is more like to details. Maybe this angle is more about...
Does it relate to manga animation in any way?
I think so.
Okay.
I believe so, because manga in any way, well, this is just extreme. It's nothing natural. My face, my hair, my thing. I think have to keep that way to make people fantasize about what idol means in Japan. It's about purity.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. ありがとう。ああ。 と